I never told this story publicly, but like I learned, like I had a near-death experience when I was 18. This is the first time I've ever told this on camera. Happiness comes from progress. So progressing in your life,
Wow.
when you're getting better in your business, when you're, you're hitting goals in your fitness, you're starting to see progress. Your relationships are getting better. Maybe you're redecorating your house and you see the progress from that. All those things bring happiness.
On my $1 million hustle. It's
the $1 Million Hustle Podcast, where we keep it real, I stated entrepreneurship wisdom. Learn to think like a millionaire and hustle like you're broke. Here's your host, Billy the Kid, aka Billionaire.
Think like a millionaire and hustle like you broke. This free game to change your life, you better so. Think like a millionaire and hustle like you broke.
Welcome to the $1 Million Hustle Podcast, baby. It is your boy Billy the Kid, aka BDK, aka Billionaire. Woo. Guys, like this episode, every question, every answer he provided to the question is what I meant. Was literally a reel for Instagram, was literally a bar, was a mic drop, all that, guys. Like I'm telling you, this episode right here is it. So if you're ready to level up, man, and change your life, you're in the right podcast. You're listening and or watching in the right place, man. $1 Million Hustle. I can't wait. Like I'm ready to freaking go. I'm ready to listen to it myself. Life changing. Like literally, guys. I told you guys every episode that we drop is a life changing episode if you apply the stuff. And this, guys, today, like I'm just gonna leave it at that for now. But Nick Perry, man, shout out to my boy, man. So amazing, such a genuine guy, and he's like giving, guys. Like he just gives you this game, and it's up to you to see what you do with it. So, fire, man. But before we jump in, man, just real briefly, if you haven't grabbed a copy of my book, The Power of Being Uncomfortable, it is out now everywhere. Check it out on Audible. I took it on a whole different level since I am a music artist, man. You're going to get some classics in there, and then you also got some exclusive content in that book that even though I released that year a few back, like there's still some exclusive content that hasn't been released yet. So go check that out. Thank you, everybody, for hitting me up for the Get Uncomfortable Mastermind. We are currently full, but either A, I'm going to open up a second group, or B, whenever we have a spot available, we have a list together. So info@billythekid.com if you're interested in joining the Get Uncomfortable Mastermind, guys. As of right now, I am closed on the one-on-one coaching. I'll let you guys know in the future whenever I open that up. I'm still doing it, but the Get Uncomfortable Mastermind, where it's at, I'm booked up right now with the one-on-one coaching. Thanks to the Lord, man. It's been such an amazing everything. And I think I might have said it on the last episode, but this is like days now, guys, away from us moving to our new build, and I'm gonna build a new studio in there. I cannot wait for you guys to check it out. I'll just say that for now. So we got some amazing things coming, man. I can't wait for the new guest. Shout out to everybody reaching out and the people that I reached out to, man. I just can't wait. But I think that's all I got, guys. New Era Construction, LLC.net. If you're looking for anything locally, we are looking for our next deal. We're getting ready to close on another multifamily and flipping houses. So if you have any of those deals, please hit me up, send them over to me so that way we can check them out. But enough of that, guys. Man, I have Nick Perry here. Again, you know what? I'm just going to STF, whatever. Shut the fuck up is what I'm trying to say. Because the information, guys, that this dude is going to provide you guys is life-changing. So with that being said, here is Nick Perry episode. Let's get it, baby. Vámonos. Welcome to the $1 Million Hustle Podcast, baby. It is your boy Billy the Kid, aka Billionaire, aka BDK, aka I'm interviewing Nick Perry today, man. I'm super excited. I just want to let you guys know that I have a lot to say, but the main thing is don't forget the $1 Million Hustle, guys, is what is the person you need to become to get to that point, right? Like it's not even about the money, and this dude is gonna teach us so much of that and more, guys. Nick Perry, how you doing, man?
Dude, living the dream, man. You know, I can't complain. Doing a lot better than I deserve. I like to say that because, dude, super blessed. You know,
Mm.
started off living in the back of my car, and been grinding for many years to get to this point. So very grateful.
Man, and I will say, bro, as you know, I do some rap, right? Like I get down on the mic, and since I saw you on stage, I just fell in love with your swagger, bro. Your style, like you almost look like a damn rapper, bro. The way you carry yourself in a good way, right? You probably get that a lot. Did you grow up listening to hip hop?
I grew up listening to hip hop. I grew up in, you know, uh, not the best part of town. Let's just put it that way, right? So I grew up in a divorced household. My mom lived in a nice area. She sent me to go live with my dad when I was 13. And my dad, he was barely making ends meet. So we lived in a one-bedroom apartment, cockroach-filled apartment, Section 8. I was the, probably only white guy in there. And, I had to fit in. So, yeah, I grew up listening to hip hop and, just being in the culture.
I love it, man. Like I said, just your branding and the way you carry yourself, bro. I love it because you also have it at this level where I think we even had this conversation when we met that there's a lot of rappers faking the funk, right? And like you're actually doing amazing things that we're gonna get to. So the first question I have, because I'm gonna tell you straight up, bro. This past week, especially, one of my mentees in my mastermind. So when you spoke, shout out to Troy, man, for putting that event together. That was awesome. In KC, we had a great time. But you have 1% tattooed on your arm, right, or in your hand? Yeah.
Right there, yeah.
And I want to start off with that question because that made a big impact in my group. So a lot of them went out to KC with me when we had that millionaire the millionaire mentorship again. Shout out to Troy. And they brought it up last week on our meeting. They were like, man, like for some reason, one of the mentees there said, I can't stop thinking about that 1% that Nick Perry had tattooed. And the thing is, you have it there for a reason. So I think I know why, and we talked a little bit about it, but I would love for you to share that with the audience.
Yeah. So, my entire goal growing up was to be rich and to be the best version of myself, right? In every aspect. And, I think when we're younger, we're always trying to look for that, magic pill or that secret software or, that one piece of information that is going to take you to the top. Everybody thinks that there's that one thing I'm just missing. And I'm here to just completely debunk that. There is listening to this podcast, investing in a certain software, none of that is really going to take you where you want to go. What is going to get you to the top is getting 1% better every single day. So that goes for your business, for your finances, your relationships, etc. So continuing to invest over a long period of time, people don't understand the compounding effect of just getting 1% better every single day, right? If you're getting 1% better every single day, that's twice as good every 70 days with compounding. So think about that over the course of a year, over 5 years, you're going to be a beast in whatever you decide to put your energy into.
Wow. That's so powerful. And guys, we're just getting started here. Now, I know I'm kind of jumping all over. You did describe a little bit of your upcoming, right? Like you weren't living where you're at. Like, guys, if you're not watching, make sure you stop your vehicle or whatever it is that you're doing and check out the paradise on the back. Why Cancun? And I want to say, if you're not following Nick yet, please do, which I'm sure you are by the time you listen to this. But like, I love the way you put it in social media, Nick. Like, I just want to tell you that. Like, I love how you compare both worlds, because essentially it is two worlds, but you have been very successful at mixing the two. So if you could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, first of all, so if you guys are watching this on YouTube or whatever, this is not a Zoom background. This is a real background right here. I promise. You see, here's my balcony. Um, I chose Cancun because I grew up in the Northeast, freezing cold. Everybody's pissed off. Everybody hates the weather. And I always was like, man, if I can make it somewhere tropical with palm trees, then I made it. So, I went and built my career in Austin, and then I moved to sunny South Beach and, Miami, Florida, and lived that whole lifestyle. And I realized, like, man, I can live in Latin America and have the same lifestyle as I have in Miami for a fraction of the cost. And it's true. Like, I live here, this place. I mean, you look behind me. We got yachts going on in the background. There's some islands. You got, the beautiful blue water. This is a brand new building in Miami. This would cost $35,000 a month for, a big 4-bedroom on the 15th story. And, here costs $7,000 a month with live-ins and drivers and chefs. So it's a much better quality of life down here, and your money goes a lot further. So I always say, make dollars and spend pesos. If you can do that, then you're maximizing your returns. And then also, like, Cancun's not that far. I could be there in Nebraska in 2-3 hours, no problem. I'd be right there with you. Any direct flight, you can go direct anywhere from Cancun. It's a great hub to be in. And people visit me all the time. I got guests here right now hanging out with me. I see my friends more in Cancun than I did when I lived in Miami.
Wow. Yeah, that says a lot. That right there, bro. We jokingly said that we would do a track, so that's the name of it right there. Make dollars, spend pesos. I love that. That sounds like a track, man. I love it. So it's something that we also talked about, Nick, and that was like the first question that I had in my head when I heard you speak and I heard your story. Living in Cancun is amazing. And you're doing amazing things, but you're not in your business anymore, right? Like, you grew it to where you're just kind of shadowing it, right, from the background. And because you always hear that you got to have goals, right? Like, to grow and keep doing and becoming a better person. So how was it kind of growing this thing that you walk out from? It has its own legs now, and then here you are in Cancun, retired. Like, did you have that moment when you're like, shoot, am I doing enough, or what's my next thing, right? Like, so that way you could keep growing.
Big time. So, I spent the first 6 years of my career hustling, working 60, 80 hours a week. So there's no shortcuts to this, right? Like, I paid my dues. I've been doing this for a decade now. But 4 years ago, I was able to put some of my team members in a position to take over the day-to-day operations and allow me to move away and manage from afar. So I have a CEO in my business. I've got a COO, and we've got, good management structure in place. So it allows me to have that freedom and truly be in the owner's box of my business, right? It's just like if you own a professional sports team. I went from being Tom Brady, the quarterback, to being Bill Belichick, and now I'm Robert Kraft. I own the team. And so that's where you want to get to, is true business ownership. Because if you can't leave your business for months at a time and come back and have more money in your bank account, you don't have a business, you have a job. So, yeah, let that sink in, okay? If you are not able to go away and come back with more money, you just got a high-paying job. So don't fool yourself. And there's a lot of, like, lawyers, doctors, plumbers, electricians, like, they're high-paid jobs, but they don't have any true freedom. They don't have true business ownership. So my goal was to always be a business owner. And, wholesaling is what got me to this point. Real estate investments what got me to this point. But, I'm only 35. So, I own other businesses as well. And, by the time I'm, 45, I expect to have a portfolio of a lot of very successful businesses. You look at Mark Cuban Mr. Wonderful on Shark Tank. They got a ton of businesses, right? So, I'm on the same way. It's just, wholesaling is my first baby, and I'm very proud of, and it still does amazing to this day.
And why did you decide, Nick, to kind of open doors, whether it's social media and all the coaching, all the amazing stuff, all the events that you do? Why did you choose that route?
Well, coaching, because I was constantly getting hit up all the time. Hey, can you coach me? Can you jump on Zoom with me? And for a very short amount of time, I did one-on-ones with people, and then it just got too much. Like, my time's too valuable. Like, in order for me to charge somebody and like be compensated for an hour of my time, it's $10,000, $15,000 for me to feel like it's worth it. So I was like, a lot of people can't write that check. I would rather just put everything into a video format where people can watch it at their own pace, and then maybe do like one call or a couple calls a week with the community. So we've got, our entire business broken down into self-study videos, and then we do 3 calls a week with our community. And it's a much better way to serve the community than doing one-on-one.
Mm.
And I love giving back, man. I've been able to help a lot of business owners level up and help their families, and that feels good to me.
Mm-hmm. Very fulfilling. So my time is too valuable. I love that, Nick, because I think that everybody listening out there, and it doesn't matter what level you're at of this journey, you heard the man. He knows how much his hour is worth. Have you put, right? Like, ask yourself that question. Have you put a dollar sign to how much your hour is worth? I think it's very important for people to do that. And guys, like, there's different ways. You could literally look at your full year, how much did you make, and then bring it down to the hour, right? Like, that's how much you're worth. With that being said, because I truly believe that at the end of the day, that's why you did what you did, right? Like, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, was to buy time. And it's a very simple question, but why? Why was time more important, right, than money? Like, what's your answer to that? Yo, we'll be right back to this great episode of the $1 Million Hustle podcast. Before we continue, I want you to go grab a copy of my book, The Power of Being Uncomfortable. It is out on Amazon. It is out on Barnes & Noble, Walmart.com, Target.com, and everywhere else books are available. The great news, guys, is you could go to BillyTheKid.com and grab an autographed copy. That is right. I'm going to mail you an autographed copy right now. Audiobook is also available on Audible, and everywhere else audiobooks are available. So go listen to it. Go grab yourself an autographed copy, and I'll see you on the other side, baby. And now back to this great episode of the $1 Million Hustle podcast.
Because I want to do whatever I want to do for as long as I want to do it, with the people I want to do it, and I don't want anybody or anything telling me any different. And I've been that way my entire life. That's why I got kicked out of class growing up. That's why, I got fired from pretty much every job that I have, is because I just always wanted freedom. My number one core value is freedom, right? Like, the money doesn't mean shit to me. I've had the Ferraris. I've, bought all the Rolex watches. I'm wearing an Apple watch right now. My other watches, they're in the safe, because I don't care about the materialistic stuff. I care about being able to enjoy the freedom and, not having to answer to somebody. So that was my motivation from day one. Even when I was, doing my real estate and I still had a job, I was like, I'm going to crush it in this job so I can get out and do real estate full time and be my own boss and have my own freedom. So it's really the freedom for me is what drives me.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure you hear this all the time, and especially a lot of our audience is maybe starting out, right? Maybe their first deal in real estate or opening their business or whatever. And again, you probably hear this question a lot, but I'm going to ask you here. You're getting out of an elevator and some youngster pulls you to the side. What would be the advice you would give that youngster starting out?
Pick a lane and stay in it. I see too many people that are early in their career and they try to get into entrepreneurship, and they are very short-sighted. One day it's wholesaling. The next day they're in Airbnbs. The next day they're learning how to flip land. Then they're in e-commerce, and now they're doing crypto. I'm like, bro, you're never going to get anywhere with that mentality. Focus. Follow one course until successful, no matter how hard it gets. I did nothing but wholesaling for 6 years. I didn't flip a house. I didn't buy rentals. I didn't do anything. So it's all about picking a lane and just putting the blinders on for a long period of time. Success is slow cook, right? It takes time. Instagram and TikTok make it seem like you can go in and have success in a matter of months. Success takes years. You got to put your 10,000 hours in to become an expert in anything you decide, whether it's rapping, whether it's buying rentals like you do. I mean, you've paid your dues in all the lanes, and that's why people listen to you and why you're very successful, because you put in those 10,000 hours.
Wow. Like it's so crazy. There's so many people that think, and you said it right there. You nailed it right there. On Instagram and TikTok, right? All these different social medias nowadays. Like the thing is, guys, that you see Nick now, but he had to grind his ass off to get to where he's at right now. What are like, and I was gonna say like 10, but maybe 3 lessons that that stick out to you, Nick, on your journey. And I know it's like all these craziness that you've done, right? Like it, but now that you are where you're at, what are like 3 lessons that stick out to you right away?
3 lessons. One is watch who you keep in your company, right? Like your relationships are everything. I've been very fortunate with my relationships, and I've made some stupid mistakes too. All through my 20s, I dated crazy girls that gave me drama and headaches and problems, and it held me back from a lot. I was distracted with dealing with stupid stuff that I shouldn't have. I got common law. If anybody knows what common law is, in Texas, if you date a girl more than if they stay in your house for more than 3 days, they can claim marriage on you. And they did that to me, and I went through a whole drama with that, right? So, I healed myself. I got a beautiful fiance. We got a baby on the way. But in my 20s, I was just dating the hottest girl I could find, and they're all crazy as hell. So make sure, when you're dating, you pick the right people. Same thing in business with your employees, right? I made a lot of mistakes with employees in my career, right? My biggest mistake when hiring employees on the professional side was I hired a lot of really nice guys, like very, kind, amazing people, like, would be, a great friend, but not the best employee. You need to make sure that you're measuring your people by set KPIs, and it's a pass or fail grade. I let too many people, I saw the potential in them. I wanted to develop them. And that is the complete wrong way to go as a business owner, especially a small business owner. You can't you're not Dr. Phil. You're not Tony Robbins. Like when you hire people, they come in and they can either hit numbers or they can't. And if they can't, that's okay, but you just need to get them out quickly. So I wasted a lot of time with, trying to develop people that I had no business developing. I rehab houses, not people. Right. So those are 2 lessons right there. A third lesson would be, I wish I would have got into it sooner. I didn't come across wholesaling until I was, 24, 25. And, I lost probably 6 years, like fumbling around in, 9-to-5 jobs and thinking that the way to go was to climb the corporate ladder and to, work for somebody else. And it wasn't until, I saw the opportunity that I was able to take advantage of it. So, if you guys are just getting started, you're brand new, like latch onto this shit, learn it, and take it all the way. You'll be, everybody underestimates what they can do in 10 years, but overestimates what they can do in a year. So just be patient with yourself, but start now.
Man, wow. And guys, boom, we could just mic drop right there and end this podcast, man. That's some amazing life lessons. Like these aren't just like, no, these are like life lessons that you have gone through. You're big on hiring, right? Like a team, and obviously that's why you are where you're at. If you take us back, Nick, what would you say are some ways that somebody can get started to, for example, get started and then end it? What's the last position and the first position? And then how was that for you when you first hired your first employee? And, you know, at that time, obviously it's a big decision, right? So like, can you take us through that?
Yeah, I mean, when you're starting a business, you're everything. You're the janitor, you're the CEO, you're everything in between. Your sales, finance, marketing, acquisitions, dispositions, transactions, you're everything. And then you start firing yourself from different roles, right? So in the beginning, it was just me. And then I think the first hire for anybody that is in real estate investment, hire and acquisitions. So you've got leads coming in. And then once you have an abundance of leads, you need to get somebody in there to help you take some of those leads. And you get a killer. This is a critical first hire, by the way, too, because in real estate wholesaling, getting a rock star acquisitions is worth $1 million. That's correct. $1 million. All of my guys on our team have make over $1 million in assignment fees per year for our company. Right. So that's a critical first hire. And then
would you say, Nick, that probably works with any business, right? Would be focusing on somebody on sales. Like if you have any, it could be a cleaning business. If you have somebody doing sales, is that what? Because obviously wholesaling is your thing, but if somebody else is listening from a cleaning company, for example,
same thing. From a cleaning company perspective, okay, all the other parts of the business are important, but nothing is as important as acquiring new accounts, right? That's what makes the cash register ring. You can figure out all the other stuff later, but if you got an abundance of accounts, you're going to figure the rest out. So the number one thing is driving new business. So yes, getting a inside sales rep or an outside sales rep to go to to go meet the clients, that is going to be the number one thing to drive revenue in the company.
And continue. Sorry, I just wanted to make that clear because I think it's in any business. So that was your first position that you hired, and then how did it evolve to where you're at?
And then the second position I hired was another sales rep. So now I had 2 acquisitions and myself. And once I had 2 rockstar acquisitions, 2 rockstar sales reps, next thing you know, I'm getting inundated with contracts. If you're in a cleaning business, now you're going to be inundated with new accounts that you have to service. So I shifted over to that side of the business and started working on selling the deals, which we call dispositions. And that was, went on for a while. Then I hired another acquisition. So now I got 3 acquisitions just shelling me with contracts, and I can barely keep up on the disposition side. So I had to hire somebody in dispositions to work with me and help me manage all the chaos going on in that department. And then I hired another dispo. So we had a little 6-man team, and then it kind of just grew out from there. Now we've got 17 people on our team, and we're happy. Like I don't have, I don't need to grow it much more than it is now. It prints money and it does great margins. So that's the way it scaled out.
And nowadays with where the market is and even just having the internet, where would you suggest somebody does marketing? And again, this could be in wholesaling or it could be any business, right?
Yeah, marketing. Right now it's online. Online is where you're going to get the best leads. So for real estate investing, I've always been big on pay-per-click advertising. So Google ads, Bing, like search engine traffic, not Facebook or Instagram ads or anything like that. For real estate investing in particular, the hottest leads are going to come from search engine traffic, not cold calling, not direct mail, not SMS, not TV ads. Like pay-per-click has been my bread and butter for many, many years, and it's not slowing down anytime soon.
What's your perspective with postcards nowadays? Like it's almost like the opposite end of the internet.
I call it pay and pray, because you have no control over what the hell is going to happen after you swipe your credit card, right? Did the postcards really go out? Maybe. Okay. Or they went out, because I'm starting to get some return mail now. Well, are the leads, did I pick the right list? Maybe I screwed up the list. I don't know. Are the leads coming in qualified? Okay, good. If they're, qualified, are you going to get a contract? How many calls are you going to get? There's no telling.
Wow. Yeah.
So It's a pay and pray method of running your business, and direct mail works. It's tried and true. Everything works. Okay. So if you went out and you wrote "We buy houses on popsicle sticks" and put them out all over, Nebraska, you're probably going to get some calls. Is that the best way of going out and marketing your business? Absolutely not. So,
Wow.
yeah.
No, yeah, so true. And it's funny. I was chuckling a little bit there, Nick, because I have this thing I'll say that I live by. That basically, even on my Instagram, I have it, and it says "paid and prayed." Uh, uh, Prayed up and paid up, right? So, anyways, the way you said it, I'm like, dang, that's like the opposite right there.
That's
So
right.
true though. It's so true though. And I gotta ask you this question. What's so? I mean, you're living the dream, right? Like you're doing your thing. Is there any time, Nick, that you maybe question yourself with all the material stuff, right? Because it's like that's what we wanted from the beginning, right? And then you get them, and then now looking back, like would you say that is what you would do again, or where you're at with that?
Like with the material stuff, like I'm kind of over all that, but I think you got to go through it, right? Like I can't, if I sit here and tell you, oh, hey, what, when you make a bunch of money, don't go buy a Ferrari and don't go buy a Rolex, you're gonna be like, screw this guy. I'm fucking buying that shit. Right. So yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to find out for yourself, but I can tell you, I got a lot more fulfillment from, experiences, going on trips with people that I love. Yeah, like I just got back from Thailand. I was at Elephant Sanctuary. I was in Australia, Japan, all over the world. I've been able to collect those experiences. So I always say, collect memories and experiences, not things. That's going to give you a lot more gratification. Nobody on their deathbed sits there and is like, man, I should have just bought one more Rolex, or I should have just bought, if I would have just got that green Ferrari, that would have been it. No, it's I I should have spent more time with the people that I love. I should have experienced. I should have had more experiences. Those are the regrets you're going to be left with. So I've just come to realize, like, material possessions, the happiness you get from that, the dopamine hit, it's fleeting. It goes quick. It's like a drug, like you got to go buy more and more and more, and you're never really fulfilled. So I would say, just dwell on that once you're, in a position where you can decide, well, do I want to go on a nice trip or do I want to buy a nice car? Go take the trip.
Mm-hmm. And it just reminds you of that cliche like quote that you see everywhere of like, you'll never regret a dollar that you spend on vacation, right? And I just made that up like based on what you see all the time. So true. And I have two follow-up questions to that that kind of go back with that. You mentioned regret in there. That's the first question is, do you regret anything looking back? And then also number two, what is happiness to you right now today?
Yeah, those are some great questions. So regret. I regret. I don't have too many regrets. I would say, I regret not starting sooner. That's a big regret of mine, because it's just time's your most valuable asset. I know kids that are starting when they're 16, and I love seeing it. I'm like, man, if I would have started like when I was 16, now I'm 35, where would I be? It's crazy. So my biggest regret is bullshit and just not jumping into what I needed to do sooner. So don't procrastinate on your dreams. Like, do it now. Like, fucking as soon as this podcast is over, you know what you need to do. Go out and do it. That's my number one regret. Other than that, I've lived a very full life with a lot of ups and downs. I could write a movie. But even in the downs, that's what develops character, and that's what makes you the person that you are. So I don't think that I would be where I am without learning those lessons and going through that adversity.
Wow.
Yeah,
Man.
and
Literally giving me chills,
happiness,
bro. Giving
for
me
sure,
chills.
for sure.
Yeah, what's
Happiness to me,
happiness?
is health and freedom, right? If you're healthy, you feel good physically, consider yourself blessed. And if you have the freedom to do what you want when you want, on top of that, like you are set, right? If you're not, punching a clock every single day, barely scraping by, and your health, like, then that to me is like slavery. So if you consider yourself, if you're free and you're healthy, that's true happiness. And real happiness also, let me put a better definition on that. This is gonna be a bar, because here's what I've really learned. I've been free and healthy and been miserable too. When I moved away from my business, had plenty of money, I was healthy, I was living in South Beach, living my best life, going, and I didn't have any responsibility. And I was actually probably the most miserable that I've ever been, even more than when I was in my business, grinding 60 hours a week. And what I've learned through all those times is that happiness comes from progress. So progressing in your life,
Wow.
when you're getting better in your business, when you're, you're hitting goals in your fitness, you're starting to see progress. Your relationships are getting better. Maybe you're redecorating your house and you see the progress from that. All those things bring happiness. So happiness will come from progress. If you were human beings, so I firmly believe that either we're meant to grow, right? And if you're not growing, then you're dying. So as long as you're growing and becoming a better person, mentally, physically, spiritually, financially, you're gonna experience joy in your life.
Wow. Fire, man. And that was a bar, by the way. That bars, not even just a bar. That was some bars right there. You like that. Again, there's so many great things with your story. You've been around the block, right, Nick? Like you're traveling, doing all these things. What's the best piece of advice that you have ever heard up to this point that you go back to and you're like, man, like I still think about that?
Man, I got to dwell on that because I'm a byproduct of having good mentors. So I'll do one that's relevant for this podcast, because when I was when I started wholesaling, I got a sales job, and I was making a $200,000 a year in my inside sales job, and I was scared to death to quit. Even though I was already doing like 3 to 5 deals a month in wholesaling, I was scared to death to quit my corporate job. And I remember one of my mentors at the time, he told me, he said, okay, if you quit your corporate job, what's the worst thing that could happen? I was like, well, I could go broke. I could lose everything. And then he was like, okay, and then what? And I was like, and then I'm fucking homeless. And he's like, well, could you not do a deal that makes you $10,000? Like, I was like, dude, I know I can. I do, 3 to 5 a month. And he's like, all right, then you'll never be broke. So, here's the thing is, once you develop the skills and the mindset, nobody can take that away from you. So once you understand how to make money for yourself, you'll never be broke. Get good at marketing and get good at sales, and you'll never be broke. Wow. That was some of the best advice that I ever heard.
Man, so many mic drops, man. We could end the podcast in every sentence that you're dropping, bro. This is freaking amazing. And then personally, what would be the best piece of advice that you would give to somebody?
Best piece of advice, it depends on who the person was. I would say if I'm talking to a younger entrepreneur, pay your dues. Like, and when I say pay your dues, I said that earlier, but I'm meaning in a completely different context. I see a lot of people that don't delay gratification long enough. So, they'll get a little bit of money, then they'll go blow it. They'll, go to a Gucci store. They'll go get bottle service. Yeah. Right. Or they'll go, lease a really nice apartment. Like, I was not that guy. Like, I delayed gratification, even when I had hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank, still living in a 1-bedroom apartment, still driving a Mazda, still eating at Chipotle, still shopping at Target. And I used that money and I just paid bills, paid off credit cards, invested into software, invested into employees, invested into, getting an office, and invested in, getting my liquidity up, invested in masterminds and becoming a better business owner. And I just invested so much. I just can't be denied.
Wow.
It's just statistically, it's like very, like, it's not even probable for me not to succeed because I paid so many dues that, stack the deck in my favor.
Wow.
So you can buy your way to success if you're disciplined like that. But if you're going out and blowing your money on stupid stuff, you're delaying your journey. You're delaying your success. So pay dues.
And it's like you're still stuck in that rat race at the end of the day because you're keeping up with the lifestyle, right? So and I love that. I think you're like the perfect example of that. Of delaying gratification. I look where you're at. So I'm assuming because it's so funny, you always hear like, hey, the 10,000 hours or 10 years later, right? Like 6 years later. Do you remember that moment where you kind of left and right started getting all these trophies, is what I call them, right? All these material stuff that you've been working so hard. Do you remember those moments? Like, and how was that when you first maybe moved to Cancun and then boom, the same week you went and bought a brand new car that back then you're like, what the hell, right? Like, what is that moment like? And then how do you practice gratitude to continue that lifestyle, right? Like the trophies and all that good stuff.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So, yeah, I told you for many years I just paid bills and I paid dues. And what happens is you get to a certain point and you see all your friends; they're all getting nice stuff, and you're just paying off American Express bills, and you're invested into masterminds, and you're wearing Target clothes, and it's just like you get to a certain point though that eventually it hockey sticks, and you end up passing everybody. And that was an amazing feeling because then it was like, dude, I'm making more than most people, making a year in a day now. And so that was a lot for me in terms of just gratitude because I got it from the mud, man. I said in the beginning of this podcast, I didn't come from money. I didn't, I was homeless in the back of my car. And I never forget where, I came from. And I could tell you that God, he has a paddle for every ass, right? Doesn't matter how big you get, he can take it away and strike you down in a heartbeat. So I'm so humbled and grateful every single day. My mornings are all about gratitude. Before I get out of bed in the morning, I pray. I get myself in a grateful mindset, think about all the things that I'm grateful for, from the little things that I open my eyes and I'm healthy, and, to the big things of, accomplishments that I'm having in my life. And I give it all to God. And, I think that's the main thing is, I'm a big believer that, God puts you in positions of, blessings so you can go be a blessing to other people and you can do good with his blessings. If you're not a good steward of God's blessings, you won't have them for very long. Wow. So I always try to be a good steward of his blessings and treat everybody, with respect. I treat the janitor the same as I would treat a CEO. Homeless guy the same as I would treat a Forbes billionaire. I don't treat anybody any different. Wow. And I think that just, abiding by God's word and trying to, keeping him first place is what's allowed me to continue to be successful.
And guys, like I saw that happening, Nick. Like I saw that because you spoke to people that were up here, right? Like, and if you're just listening, I'm going up, like people that are doing things and their lives already up here. But then you spoke with the same energy to somebody that maybe is just starting out, maybe a youngster. Like I saw youngsters that you were talking to. So I know you never lie, bro. The question that I have for you is, let's say that tomorrow you wake up and you're stripped away from everything and you have zero or negative dollars at this point. How, and obviously you're a hustler, bro, so you're gonna get it back and more, right? But what is the first thing that you would do? Maybe what would be a business that you would start, or what is the first thing that you would do if you just got stripped away and you had to restart right now with all the knowledge that you know?
Oh, with all the knowledge that I know, that would be easy. I would go online and I would apply for a credit card, and then I would spin up some Google Ads campaigns, or reach out to a pay per lead provider, and then just start taking leads. And I know within an afternoon I could get a contract, and then as long as I could hold on for another 30 days after that, I'd be paid, and then I'd be back off to the races.
Man, quick, huh? That and guys, like if you're listening to that, like there's so many people that right now might be froze to make that next decision. And just listen, this man just said he would go get a credit card. Like that I think that summarizes, like, you've always bet on yourself, Nick, and that's why you are where you're at. It's like mind blowing just hearing you. Like, no, I would freaking bet it on myself again, right? Like that's the motto there. You keep talking and bringing up my favorite person in the world, which is God. What were you always religious growing up? And then also, if you were or were not, and you're shaking your head right now, why and how did you get to that point to be so religious? Because the way that you were talking right now, man, like it gave me chills, bro. Like straight up, because I'm big, and I know I'm big on God, and I know that I would not be where I'm at if it wasn't for God. And literally, right, like God, family, hustle, like that's the lifestyle there. So what was that moment that you encountered that, and why do you follow him so much nowadays?
I didn't grow up in a church going background. My parents never talked about God or anything growing up. And yeah, I never told this story publicly, but like I learned, like I had a near death experience when I was 18. This is the first time I've ever told this on camera. So I got in a lot of trouble. I used to be dead. I was in and out of jail. I was a troublemaker. And one we were at an event. It was called Hyperfest. It was out on a racetrack, and everybody brings their cars out there and they race around during the weekend. And then at night they have bands come play and everybody camps out. It's a blast. It's a weekend festival. Well, we're camping out and we're blackout drunk, and somebody's in my buddy's car, like messing around that wasn't supposed to be there. So he ends up pulling them out, and they get in a fight, and his camp comes over and starts fighting. Our camp starts fighting, and it's dark outside. I'm punching people. I grab this one guy, I get on top, I start beating the shit out of him, dressed in all black. I couldn't really see. And it was the Jefferson County Sheriff. This was in West Virginia.
Oh, wow.
And beating the shit out of a cop inadvertently. And as soon as I realized it was a cop, I started running, and they tased me in the back. I ended up going to jail. It was a Friday, and it was a 3-day weekend, so I couldn't see the magistrate until Tuesday. And so I'm sitting there waiting to see the magistrate. They throw me in a cell. They didn't like me because I just beat up one of their colleagues. So I had they threw me in there with no clothes, freezing cold. When breakfast came around the next morning, they skipped me on food. They skipped me on lunch. I'm in there starving and freezing. And so I end up yelling and getting real aggressive with the guards. Like, listen, if you don't shut the fuck up, we're going to come in there. And I was like, bring it. And they ended up putting all their riot gear on. They come with the shotgun with the rubber bullet, open the food port up, stick it in the food port. And I was right near the food port, and they shot me right in the heart with the little beanbag. And I guess it stopped my heart for like, I don't know, probably like 6 or 12 seconds. But I woke up in the medical unit. And the lady said to me, she said, you died, right?
Wow.
And I was like, I did know I died, because I remember vividly that near death experience. And it was, we don't have to go down all that stuff, but that right there was all I needed to see, that God is real, and God loves you, and he has a plan for me, and that's why I'm still here. So that right at 18 was a transformative experience for me, to be able to just know without a shadow of a doubt that God is love, and God is here, and God is real.
Wow. And thanks for sharing that, Nick. That I sadly, I think that a lot of us have to experience something like that in order for us to realize who the real man is, right? Like in the world, right? Like and I gotta ask you this because me being religious too, and I had an experience, right? Like and not that I didn't believe prior to, but it kind of sets you straight, like, hey, you're just another human at the end of the day, right? Like behave and do the right thing. And I think it's crazy. I keep getting messages nowadays of how people bring him up to me, or I have to kind of carry on and bring it to them, like, hey, God is real, you know what I mean? And I call him my homie, man. Like the thing is, people make this like, no, like that's your homie, that's your partner, right? Like it, like it is a cool thing, like it is cool. God is cool. You know,
Hmm.
goat to me, goat, like I go by Billy Goat, you know, I wear a goat, and to me that stands for God over all things. You know,
Amen.
because that's the thing. But I do gotta ask you this, Nick, because I do get this a lot. Then why do bad things happen?
Why do bad things happen?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I think God's in control of everything. So when bad things, I don't consider things bad. I just consider them, okay, we got to figure this out.
Mm.
We all have problems,
Mm-hmm.
but all right, we got to get to the bottom of this. We got to figure this out. I don't sit there and say, oh, bad things are happening to me. That's a victim mindset and a victim mentality. We all have challenges. We all got problems, but it's your job as as a, a person to figure it out. You know, I got all kinds of, challenges, but to me, it's just like, okay, well, I need to, all right, what's next? Don't sit there and have a victim mentality. And, oh, bad things happen to me. You
Wow.
can learn through everything.
The thing is, guys, like we're getting deep in this podcast, man, and I'm gonna lay it out to most people. Honestly, death, like you're killing yourself, and that's how deep it is. Like it's that's how much of your fault it is. Like even though maybe you got to look at the bigger picture here, like and again, we're just dropping bombs like that, like whatever, say if you have diabetes, like what decisions were you making that led to that, right?
Listen, everything's
Any
your
disease.
fault. Everything that happens to you in your life is your fault. You got to take extreme ownership for um, all the good, all the quote unquote bad that you have. It's all a reflection of you. So the world doesn't like you. The world doesn't hate you. It's just a reflection of you. So don't be a victim and just own up to all your bad circumstances. You're struggling right now and you don't got enough money in your account. Your health is suffering. That's all your fault. You
Hmm.
know. So
Love
it's
it.
yeah, it's important to take ownership of all the everything in your life.
And it's the harsh reality, like at the end of the day. So I love that, man. Thank you. And what is some advice, Nick, that you would have? Because I love your confidence, bro, and I relate to that because nowadays, man, it's a dog eat dog, bro. Like you gotta be out there and have that confidence. What's some advice that you would give somebody that maybe is struggling with their confidence?
Get out there and fail faster, right? I was not confident. I was always an introvert growing up. I wasn't good at sales. I've learned how to do, sales. I was never a business owner. My mom's best hope for me was like just go to trade school and become a plumber. Like if I did that, she was going to be fucking thrilled, right? That was her best hope.
Hmm.
So, nobody expected me. I was probably voted like least likely to succeed, in high school, and here I am. And so it just came from me knowing that I had something special deep down inside of me, and I was going to do whatever it took to become the best version of myself. So you got to have that belief. If you feel like, hey, I'm I was always kind of misunderstood. And I was like, I'm gonna show everybody like I have what it takes. So and I looked stupid in the beginning. I failed a lot. People used to tell me when I was starting wholesaling, "Oh man, you little side business. What you're doing is illegal. Yeah, you should never give up your corporate job. Um, you're never gonna make it." You're a high school dropout. Like, what makes you think you can be a CEO? All that stuff. But fuck what they say, right? If you just show up every day and try to go to bed a better man or a better woman, you do that enough days in a row, eventually people are going to look up and be like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you're crushing it. What happened? I got friends that reach out to me that are not friends. I got people from high school and, early adulthood that used to hate on me all the time, now asking me for a job. I'm like, sorry, man. Ship sailed.
Man, you're the living example of that quote, right? Like, work your ass off until they ask if you're hiring, man. I love that. And the next question that I have for you is, since you travel a lot, what are some traveling tips that you would give us? Maybe even like a credit card that you use, or just because you made such a big point earlier. It is so true. Like, the more you talk about Cancun, man, the more I'm like, man, maybe I shouldn't go live in El Salvador, later. But because it is right there, like, you could travel and just be in the U.S., like you said, Nebraska, 2-3 hours, man, and you're here. What are some traveling tips that you've kind of acquired throughout the years that you could share with us?
We'll be right back. Before we continue, go subscribe to Billy the Kid YouTube. That is Billy, DHAKID. Also, go follow Billy the Kid Music on Spotify, Pandora, Apple Music, and everywhere else music is available. And now, back to this great episode. Let's go.
Hopping out the two-door, wearing number 2-4. Feel like Kobe, though I'm winning, need to do more. My mama sorry, college wasn't for me. Street smart, no degree, just like Kobe. Self-made boss with a suit like a mogul. I'm the new era, you see it on my logo.
Well, I travel pretty much for free. So any business owner, whether you got a cleaning business or you're in real estate, what have you, get your credit right. As an adult, like, there's no excuse why you should have messed up credit. I've got plenty of people that can help you fix your credit. There's tons of companies out there. Fix your credit if you got banged up credit. Once you have good credit, then go out and get some 0% interest business credit cards. And that's what you need to be putting all of your business expenses on, right? And the two that I really recommend, I recommend three. I would get the American Express Gold Card, the American Express Platinum, and the Chase Business Unlimited. Those are three that you can get right there. You put all your spend on those, and of course you pay your cards off weekly or monthly or whatever. But what's going to happen is you're going to accrue a lot of points, obviously. And most people think like, okay, when I get enough points, I'll just go onto the portal and book a flight. Wrong. That is not how you use your points. Never disrespect your points by going on like the American Express or Chase travel portal. That's the worst redemption value you can get for your points. So you always want to transfer your points to whatever airline that you're using, right? So if you're flying United, you transfer your points to United. If you're flying Emirates, you transfer your points to Emirates. You get the idea. You get a much better redemption value just doing that. But the way to absolutely crush it is everybody knows, like, airlines are an alliance with each other. So for instance, I'll give you a real life example. I flew from San Francisco to Sydney in March 2 months ago, and I flew on United. Well, I went on United, and that flight for first class was 355,000 points on United. But United is a partner of Air Canada. So I went on to Air Canada's site, that same exact flight, first class on the same exact plane, 75,000 points. So I booked it on Air Canada, and I was able to get it for 75,000 points. Now, if I would have booked that on the American Express travel portal, it would have been like 700,000. So I went from like 700,000 points booking on the travel portal to 355,000 points booking on United to 75,000 points by booking on Air Canada. Now, I'll give you guys a gem. There's a website. I'm not affiliated with them or anything like that, but it's called point.me, and it will it'll scan all those partner airlines. You tell it, what kind of credit card points you have. You want to fly business class on these days, and it'll scan all the airlines and all the partners. for which one has the best redemption value for your points. And that's how like I do a lot of my travel now is I use the site called point.me. There's other ones out there that you can use, but that's the one I like.
Wow, right there it is, man. I love it. I love it. Love it. Such a hustler, bro. I love it, man. Just out here hustling. What are some hobbies nowadays, Nick, that you have for fun, or just sometimes even a lot of times as you're a hustler, man, like you're probably making money doing your hobbies anyways. But what are some hobbies that you enjoy nowadays?
Man, I love to stay active. You know, I love being outdoors. Yeah, as an entrepreneur, I'm ADHD as hell anyways. I can't sit still. So anytime I get like free time, I usually get the dogs, go down to the beach. I like to do like long walks. I go play pickleball a lot. So I've been getting real into pickleball. I play sports. So I like to play baseball. I go to the gym every single day. So just being physically active to me, it keeps my mind busy. I like doing things that are competitive, even in my personal life. I'm not the kind of guy that can just sit down and like watch a TV show. It's very difficult for me. I gotta get up and go do something. Yeah, that's big. I like to travel, so if I sit around too long, I always say when I get home, hey man, when I get home, that's it. I'm not traveling anymore. And then I'm home for about 2 weeks, and the next thing you know, I'm like, hey, we're going here, we're going there. My fiance, she gets on me all the time. She's like, I've heard that before. I've heard it. So
Love
I'm
it,
always
man.
doing something, man. It's a movie. I live here in Cancun. We're out on yachts and jet skis, and we're never bored. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, hell yeah, love it. And Seven Figure Cartel, man, you probably gotten some crazy feedback. I love it, like the branding and like as soon as I seen it, man, I'm like, man, that's fucking amazing. Why did you go with that name? What's the branding? If you could give us a little bit of information on that.
Yeah. So a lot of like the word cartel, like especially here in Mexico, like it's like a little, but if you look at the true definition of a cartel, it's a group of people that come together to unify resources to get to a common goal. And that's exactly what it is. So, you know, our group is full of just hitters. And so I'm giving, just like I've been, giving to you guys on this podcast, like I give everything I got, but so do all of our members. And we got some amazing members in our group that are pouring everything in and helping each other. And just the compounding effect of everybody coming together like that is crazy how fast people are able to get results when they come with a collaborative mindset and are able to, pull together resources to, help each other. So that's the reason I came up with it, is because I wanted it to be a common effort for everybody to get to 7 figures. And then now, because we've been doing so well, we actually have the 8-figure cartel, which is for our guys that are already, doing 7 figures that are now working on getting to 8 figures.
Hell
So
yeah.
it's an entire movement that we've been able to create, and I didn't expect it to go this well, but that's what happens when you got great people.
Man, I love that, bro. And you're so creative with I mean 8-figure cartel. That's awesome, and all the other parts there. I as much as I hate it, man, we gotta wrap it up. You got Cancun to go out there and take over, right? And all the amazing things that you're doing. I wrote the book The Power of Being Uncomfortable. And your story is just that, right? Like you went through the uncomfortable, but what's one time that you can go back to and explain to us where you got uncomfortable and it paid off? And that's that pivotal moment that you had where it's like, man, like that was uncomfortable, but I did it and here I am.
Big time. I mean, that's what it's all about, is becoming uncomfortable. And I could sit here and tell you 1,000 different stories, but I think one that'll drive home for a lot of the audience right here is, I mentioned I grew up in Northern Virginia, and it was not the best environment for me to grow or build a business. And so I moved out of my hometown. And I think that anybody that's listening to this, if you're in your hometown, move. It's the best thing you can do for yourself. And everybody's like, oh, I got my family, I got my comfortable little job, I got the same bar and restaurant that I go to. Get away from that. I'm telling you that when I really started to grow was when I moved from Northern Virginia to Austin, Texas. I got out of my hometown. I didn't have any jobs. I didn't have any connections. I had $5,000 in my bank account and I had to make it work. By the time I got there, I had like $2,500. And so, it was something that I was extremely uncomfortable. I was scared out of my mind. I didn't know how I was going to make it. But when you put yourself in those kind of situations, you're going to surprise yourself, right? You're always going to rise up.
Yeah.
So I think anybody that's still living in their hometown should move. You can always come back in, a few years later, but go move and see what you can do, because anytime I've ever moved to a different city, I've always grown.
Wow. And then based off of that, Nick, where do you see yourself in the next 5-10 years?
Well, I've got family I'm building right now. I got a baby coming in August.
Congrats,
so
man.
Yeah, really excited about the next chapter of my life in those regards. I see my businesses thriving and continuing to grow. I have other business opportunities that I'm pursuing outside of, or that I'm doing and making a lot of money on outside of wholesaling at this point. And so I see myself continuing to do more of the same on a bigger level, helping more people, becoming more free, becoming an even better version of myself in all aspects. And, whatever cool stuff comes from that, that's all I care about. And all I care about, again, is getting 1% better every day. So as long as I kept doing that, I know good things will happen, and whatever unfolds, that's in God's hands.
Wow. Fire. And if you had to look back at your younger self, what would you tell yourself right now? That teenager, or, acting up or whatever, like, what would you tell yourself right now?
I'm proud of you. Like, don't worry, it's going to be okay, because I was so confused back then. Like I'm still that same person deep down. It's just I'm more channeled now. Like, I channeled my rebellious spirit into entrepreneurship, into healthy things. Back then I was, breaking into cars and getting in trouble, and that's what you do when you're a teenager, right?
Stereos and speakers, right?
Exactly. So, like, man, I would just tell myself,
Nick,
like,
just real quick, it's so funny saying that, because like, any youngsters listening, they have no idea what stereo, like, what it comes with the car already, right?
Exactly. So, I would just tell myself, like, it's going to be all right, because I think here's the thing, your teens and your 20s suck, right? Your teens and your 20s suck. It's not until you really get into your 30s that, like, you got more money, you got shit figured out a little bit more. Your teens and 20s are very stressful. So just know that if you're listening to this in your teens and your 20s, just keep putting your best foot forward. Follow good people like Billy, like, plug into good mentors. I didn't have good mentors growing up, and that's what led me astray. So I wish I would have plugged into, good groups like yours and other mentors. That would have saved me a lot of heartache along the way. So if you are already listening to this, you're already on the right track. You're already doing the right thing, surrounding yourself with the right information, and just give yourself some grace. As long as you keep getting 1% better every day, look where you're going to be in 3-5 years from now. You're not even going to recognize yourself.
Wow. And then I'm going to ask you this question that's like on the opposite end of the spectrum there. You're 120 years old, and God forbid, right, we all have to die, man. So you're in your deathbed right now. What is the message you have for the world?
The message that I've got for the world on my deathbed, man, that's a deep one. I think the message that I want to give is that through all like, you can do anything, but you can't do everything. You got to you got to focus and know that God has got to be first place in your life, because you can't do it on your own. you can only do it with God.
Mm.
You know, God has opened up more doors for me. I'm not sitting here because I'm a beast, or you know, oh, I'm beating my chest, I did it. No, like a lot of this stuff, God opened up doors for me when I didn't see a way. So, you know, I want to be able to preach a message of, you know, anything is possible with God as long as you stay focused and continue to walk with Him.
Man, I had chills again, Nick. And it just reminded me of that Drake bar, right? Like, I can't do this by myself. Like, God's watching, right? Like, God's plan. Like, that's on my playlist, man, because that song right there. I mean, it's facts, and that's literally what you just described there, man. I love it. And then, what are if you had to tell the world right now, hey, you do these 3 things, you're going to be successful, you're not going to fail. What are those 3 things that you have to do, whether they're habits or any advice that you would tell somebody out there to get to that $1 million hustle?
Work out, take care of yourself physically. That discipline that you develop going to the gym and taking care of yourself personally every single day is going to exude in every area of your life. So you got to get your personal life clean, like squared away. Like just the simple shit. Okay. So, you know, working out and, you know, clean up your house and take care of your, you know, car, like make yourself personally good. Then, you know, when it comes to business wise, it's everybody thinks it's going to happen quick. It always takes longer than you think. And it's always going to be harder than you think. Right. So you got to have a long-term mindset. That's number 2. If you can't see yourself doing something for at least 5 years, don't start it in the first place. So get your personal life cleaned up and then have a long-term mindset. And then the third one is just tenacity, right? You got to have that dog in you because it gets fucking hard. Yeah. You're not going to want to get up and go to the gym. Deals are going to fall apart. Your finances are going to become stressed. Your relationships are going to have, you know, stress. You got to be able to be an expert problem solver and handle pressure. I see a lot of really smart people that will never make it in this world. PhDs, master's degrees, whatever. I'm a high school dropout. So you don't have to have an education, but you do have to be able to handle pressure. If you can't handle pressure, then just stay your ass at the porch. Keep working your 9-to-5 job, and you're going to live a little life. But if you want to live a great life, you want to live a big life, you want to hang out with the big dogs, learn how to handle pressure, and you got to have that dog inside of you. And that's my 3 things. Man,
whew. Another mic drop right there. Where can people find you, man?
Man, reach out to me on Instagram. I'm out on Instagram too much anyways these days. You know, I'm always on IG. Just hit me up there. It's Nick Perry, REI. Shoot me a follow. Let me know if you guys need anything. I'm always engaging with everybody. So happy to help.
Man, thank you so much, bro. What's a book recommendation you have? I know you got to go, man, but it's a question. It's funny, Nick. I asked that at the very beginning of the show, but we've had so much fire that book of the week. What's a book recommendation that you have that has changed your life?
Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill.
Let's go.
It's get on that book. I won't go into it. I'm not going to spoil it for you guys, but go download it on Audible right now or order the physical book, whatever it takes. But you guys, that's mandatory reading for everybody that's made it this far in the podcast.
Man, I just want to thank you, bro. Again, thank you for your time, man. You're such an amazing, genuine person, and I fucks with you, bro. Like anything that you need, man, please don't hesitate. You got a brother here for life, man. Those of you who are listening, make sure you subscribe, follow Nick, follow me, screenshot if you're listening to this podcast, and tag us. And I'll see you guys on the next one, baby. Vamonos.
Used to be broke, now it's time to eat. Can't even pay your phone bill, talk is cheap. I done leveled up, now I'm out of your reach. I'm still going, still ain't reached my peak.
Gucci chocolates on my feet. Used to be broke, now it's time to eat. Gucci chocolates on my feet. Take a seat, you can't compete. Gucci chocolates on my feet. Used to be broke, now it's time to eat.